Hello everybody, welcome to my first video after the course introduction. If you don't already have a Linux virtual machine installed, I have two videos. The first one is how to install Linux on Oracle VBox. The second one is how to install Linux on VMware. You only have to watch one, and VMware and Oracle VirtualBox are both great to use. They're both free. So basically just pick your tool, whatever one you want to use, and I'll meet you back here. Now, this first video is not going to be the most exciting, but just stick with it. We'll get the basics down and we'll get to the fun stuff soon enough here. We're going to be using the command line interface for everything that we do. You don't have to if you're a user, but we're here to learn Linux and get good at it and to build our skills. So the best thing to do to get good at Linux fast is to use the command line interface for everything. So without further ado, open up your command line interface and I'm going to show you how to do some fun things. It's going to feel weird and awkward at first working out the command line, but the more time that you spend on it and the more that you practice, it's going to feel a lot more natural. The very first command that we're going to be typing in is list, ls. Now another thing is any command like ls or list or any other command usually has different options. And to enable a different option, you would just type in dash, and you can type in a different letter like A-A-B-C, and they all kind of do different things. So if I type in this, it gives you a completely different output than it did when you just typed in ls by itself. Now, what is this showing right now? I mean, ls list is showing us all the files in our current directory. And before it showed us we had desktop, documents, download music, pictures, all our standard kind of computer stuff. And then with the -a, we got all these weird files with like the .bash logout, .process, and all this kind of weird stuff. So what is all this stuff? So in Linux, these are hidden files. I'm sure in Windows, you've probably come across hidden files and you have to go into view and check the box that says show hidden files. And in Linux, any file that starts with a dot is a hidden file. So if I were to create a new file like touch.kale, then this would be, if I typed in ls, then it would not show it. But if I typed in ls-a, here we have our kale file. And the reason why some of these files might be hidden is just because it's kind of unrelevant. Like going back to the mom, for example, if your mom was browsing and she saw all these things, she might get like just confused, like what is this bash history? Like why do we need that? And like a lot of times that's one of those things that you don't need to know unless if you're looking for it. Like bash history would just show the history of all of the bash commands that you've used in this session so far. But anyways, we can just hit clear. Now let's type in ls again. Earlier I mentioned that these are all the files in our current directory. Well, what directory are we in right now? How do we know where we are? Well, Linux architecture is kind of like a tree. All of the files start at the root, which is like the main kind of file, and from there it branches out. There's lots of different branches and sub branches and leaves upon that branches. So where are we right now on that tree? So for that we would type in pwd, and that stands for print working directory. So right now we're in this location, and root, what I was talking about earlier, like the base of the tree, is the first slash. So the first slash is root. But not to confuse you yet, but there's also a slash root, which is not to be confused with just slash, which is root. That sounds a little bit confusing saying that out loud, and that's kind of weird, but just know that slash and slash root, these are two different things. The slash is the highest of the hierarchy of files, and that's also like the main root. And this slash root is located within this slash. So, whoa, okay, that's pretty complicated, but anyways. So if we do ls slash, this lists everything under the root. So in here we have bin, boot, cd-rom, dev, etc, home. And as you see home, this is where this is. So if I did ls slash home, we would see that OxyMonster, which is my user account, is located in here. If we type in list again, you know, we have a lot of folders in our directory. So I can type in list downloads, and what I did right there, if you caught that, it auto completes if you hit tab. But it only works if there aren't any other possibilities. So if I typed in do and then tab, it wouldn't autocomplete because there's two possibilities. But if there's only one possibility of dow, then it's downloads, then I can hit tab and it completes it. So if I hit enter, it doesn't give me any outputs because I haven't downloaded anything yet, so there's nothing in that folder. Let's go back to ls-a. So let's talk about this for a second. How do we find out more about what -a means, and how do we see all of our different options? So one way to do that is type in man and then ls. So man is manual, and you can type man before any command that you want to know more about. Here we can see that it says -a means all. And here it's showing, you know, it's showing us all files. We're not ignoring any entries. You know, -a, capital A, is almost all. -b is escape. You know, this shows us all of every possibility that you can use with your command. And I know there's a lot of text in here, and I promise you do not need to know all of it. Just know that it's here, and if you ever forget, then there's a little guide to look it up. So, you know, it's just a little thing that shows you don't have to memorize everything, man. You don't need to remember every little thing. Like, there's tools like this to help you to make sure that you don't spend hours and hours studying and memorizing each and every different option that you can use with little commands like ls. You know, just ls. So, and then pwd, print working directory, that's where we are. So if we go ls slash, we can do ls slash home, that's where we are. ls slash home slash OxyMonster, that's showing, see, this shows the same thing as this, because that's where we are. And now if we did cd slash to go to the root, something changed here. We went from this symbol to this. This symbol is showing us where we are in the directory. So if we do ls, now we see all these files. So if I go cd bin, which is the first one right here, which is the binaries, by the way, that's where all like the commands are stored. A whole bunch, wow, lots of stuff. Let's just do clear. Let's forget that we saw that because that's a lot of information. We're going to go cd slash, and then we're going to go cd home OxyMonster. See, this is interesting here. When we were in the bin, this showed as /bin. When we were in home, this showed as /home. When we were in the root, it just showed as /. But when we're in home OxyMonster, it does not say home OxyMonster, it just has a tilde. And that's because tilde is a representation of OxyMonsters, or your own name or whatever you're using. So we can do cd tilde, and this and this, these two commands both do the same thing. Okay? They both do the same thing. This means the same as this. This is just a shortcut. It's a variable that just links to whatever your user's home directory is. So for this video, while I'm talking here, I just want you to go around, like cd here, check out all the things here, cd home oxymonster, cd tilde if you don't want to type it out, then we go list, and then we go change directory, go under documents, see if there's anything in there. You know, just kind of explore, like go around the different directories. You know, every time you go to a new directory, just type in pwd, just to remind yourself, like this is how I check out where I am when I get lost. You can always go cd print working directory, okay, cd /bin. I could do print working directory. I can, let's go to our desktop, cd desktop. See, now it doesn't like it because Linux is case sensitive, so it's got to be desktop with a capital D. Now, I've got a couple files in here already. You probably won't. But in order to create a new file, all you gotta do is type in touch. And you can put in new file.txt. And .txt is just an extension showing that this is just a text file. Now if we minimize this, then you'll see your new file right here. And if I go into that file, you'll notice there's nothing in here, but we can just type in hello, this is my awesome file. You can save that, go back into my command line interface, and so now if we type in list again, we see that new file right there. And in order to list the things in this file, you type in cat, which is concatenate, which is just a fancy word for show the contents in this file. And we can type in new file.txt, and here it shows what I wrote into this file. Now, what if we want to put this file into a folder? Well, let's go ahead, let's clear this first. Let's say I want to make a new folder on my desktop. Well, I could do that by typing in make dir, which is make directory, and I could put in attack and put in ABC, you know, XYZ options if you want. If you don't know all the options, you could just type in man make dir, and you know, here it can show us, okay, well, we can type in -m for this mode, we could -p for parents, you know, so it's just showing us everything that we could do with it. Again, you don't need to remember this stuff. This is just, the only thing you need to remember is man and whatever the command is that you're trying to learn more about. Alright, so we're going to make a directory called, I don't know, folder1. Super creative, right? And in this folder1, we're gonna, you know, let's list. As you can see, folder1 is blue, but all these files are white. And that's because files are represented as white, text files specifically, so text file is white, and folders are blue. So now we can do mv, which is move, and again we can do man move, which shows different things, like here's a backup, make a backup. You can force it if it's not working. You can move all the source arguments into a directory target. You know, just a bunch of stuff that you may or may not ever use, but you might actually use it, so I'm not sure. Anyways, so we can do move, and we're going to specify the file that we're moving and the destination that it is moving to. So this is this syntax you have to remember with Linux. Almost always, in almost every scenario, it's always what you're doing it to, and where that output is going to. That's always, almost always the syntax. So, we're moving it. What are we moving? This. Where are we moving it to? Alright. So if I hit enter, type in ls, we'll notice that the new file is no longer here. But if we go ls folder1, we'll see the new file is in there. And if we go to our desktop, we'll notice that the file is no longer there, and we have this folder1 here. Now, let's go ahead and move it back to our desktop. So we could do move. First we have to change the directory to the folder 1. And we can go move new file to home, oxymonster, desktop. Go ls, it's not there anymore. We go cd, and we can do 2 dots to go up 1 directory. So if we go print working directory, we're at the desktop. If we do ls, our file is right here. Now, if we want to remove that folder, we type in rm for remove. And again, if you want to read more about it, we do man rm. And this shows us all the things that you can use with remove. All the different fun options. Now, we'll go remove folder 1. So it cannot remove folder 1 because it is a directory. So what we can do is -m for force. And you can't because you need to do remove dir. So rm is just for files, and rm dir is for directories. And again, rm dir obviously has its own options as well. You know, lots of fun options. Anyway, so go at clear, go at list, and we're gonna make a new directory. We're gonna do folder 2, and we're gonna move the new file .txt to folder 2. So we'll go print working directory to see where we are. Then we'll move into the folder 2, print working directory. We're in folder 2, we're verified. Now we can do list to see that new file there. So let's go up a directory to the desktop. And let's go ahead and remove directory folder 2. And what you'll notice is now we get a new error. This error says failed to remove directory because the directory is not empty. So we're using the right command this time, but we can't remove it because the directory is not empty. So in this scenario, you would use remove directory -f folder 2. It's an invalid option. Let's do man to double check what that was. Alright, so we can just use rm-f for folder 2. Okay, so it doesn't want to take the force, so we could try R for recursively delete, and voila, we did it. We deleted the folder even though there was a file in it. So now the folder and the contents inside of that folder are now deleted. And notice it did not ask me if I was sure. You know, sometimes in Windows, when you delete something, it says, are you sure you want to recycle? And you say yes or no. Here in Linux, it just does it. It doesn't ask you anything. It's already assuming that you know what you're doing. So this leads me to a very dangerous command. See, rm-r, folder 2, we saw that it deleted everything without warning us. Now, if we combine R recursive with F, which is force, so it's recursively forcing, and if we do slash, then this deletes everything in slash. And as we discussed earlier, slash has everything. So if you removed everything in slash, it would completely decimate everything in your operating system without any warning. And it will just do it without asking you, are you sure or are you not sure? So if you see this online somewhere, this command, take note, because there will be some trolls out there who will think it's funny, and to be honest, it is kind of funny. I would be lying if I didn't say it was funny, but don't fall for this, okay? If you fall for this, then that's your fault because I warned you. So don't run that command. So anyways, that's the basics, like the episode 1 of the Linux course. I hope you found some valuable information, hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.